Welcome to Sneakers and Strategies, the podcast where high-level marketing throws on a fresh pair of kicks and hits the streets. Host Nick Kastner will help you find practical, actionable marketing insights that move with you. In Season 3, Nick's switching gears and going all in on Agile marketing. If you're still clinging to rigid plans and red tape, this season's your wake-up call. It's time to move fast, break patterns, and actually get done.
You ever launched a campaign that looked great 2 weeks ago? Yeah, same. Welcome back to Sneakers and Strategies. I'm Nick, and in Season 3, we're breaking down the Agile Marketing Manifesto. We've been talking about that for a while now. One value and principle at a time, and dragging them out of theory and into action. Before we get into today's topic, I missed a week. So let me explain. There's this thing we're talking about today, change, and it's happening right in front of us. I made the decision last week to take one for our team at Forum and focus on adapting to change. Our team is actually working on wrapping up a 2-week study on what's changing in search engine optimization and what I'm now calling search everything optimization. I'm not the only one who's saying that. But it's all about the adjustment that AI is causing in search marketing. To say I've learned a lot over the past 2 weeks would be an understatement. But I'm really excited to share that with you all once it's done. So in addition to the book I announced last week, or 2 weeks ago now, the book I'm working on, we're also wrapping up a white paper that I believe will change the way we at Forum look at not only search but analytics and how we measure success moving into the future in digital marketing. So with that, and to catch up, I'll be dropping an additional episode over the next week to get us all caught back up so we're back in rhythm. All right, so today's principle is one of my favorites, and it's also probably one of the most difficult things to do as an Agile marketer, and that is embrace and respond to change to enhance customer value. We all have a tendency to do the things we know. And I think that can be a good thing in some industries, can be a good thing in marketing at times, but also can be very difficult. And especially for those who have been in marketing a long time, you feel like you've got a rhythm to things and the way that you do things, and the market changes and you have to adjust. So that's what we're talking about today. So embracing and responding to change to enhance value that you give to customers, or if you're an agency, that you give back to the businesses you work with. So the translation for that, you have to stay relevant or you get left behind. So we're going to start here. The rate of change isn't speeding up, it's already fast. And if you feel like you're behind, you're not catching up. You're just actually remaining behind. Because here's the thing, platforms evolve, consumer behavior changes, cultural context moves on a daily basis. I mean, if you think about in the political environment and in the international diplomacy space, we went through Iran and Israel bombing one another, to the U.S. getting involved, and all of a sudden there's a ceasefire. We see stuff like that all the time. We've seen all the tariff business on the business side of things and the economic side of things. And those things feel like they're changing literally on a daily basis. In marketing, we're seeing AI be adopted at record pace. And again, if you're not using it already, you're behind. And remember that perfect quarterly campaign plan you probably wrote in March? The world doesn't care about it. Nobody cares about the plans you had. And no one cares whether or not you like change or not. You can't change change. Change is the only constant. And so Agile marketing, when we talk about it, isn't just about moving quickly. When people hear Agile, they immediately think, oh, that means we have to move really fast. Not necessarily. It's about moving intentionally in response to what's real. Not what you hope for, and not that what you hoped would still be relevant, but things change and you adjust. And so this principle in the Agile Marketing Manifesto is permission, an obligation to stay plugged in and make moves. So when things change, when the environment changes, you adjust. And it's hard. Like, I'm not going to say it's not hard. It's really, really freaking hard. Because change is a feature of what we do. It's not a bug or a break in the system. It's part of what we do as marketers. Most marketers, if you were to ask them, they treat change like a fire drill. They endure it, right? It's a thing that messed up their plan. But the fact is, that's the only thing that you can plan for is change, right? Agile flips that script. That's the whole thing. Change is the opportunity. It's your edge. It's where you create value in ways your slower competitors can't. So let's kind of break it down like this. Change breaks teams who worship a plan. Change also empowers teams who worship the customer or focus on the customer. If you're focused on the plan, you miss the point. If you're focused on the customer, then you get it. And you don't want a team. You don't want your marketing team. You don't want your agency that's going to do everything perfectly. They're going to execute flawlessly. You don't want that. You want a team that observes constantly and adjusts and can be brave when they need to be. Think about that for a second. If we are trying to make sure that we are paying attention to what the customer needs, we're going to screw up every once in a while. That's got to be okay. Because we need to make sure that we're observing and paying attention to what's happening and not kind of blowing things out of the box and making huge mistakes. It's not that. It's more about making a decision, learning from it, and then moving on. So let's talk about trends. If your marketing team or agency isn't watching culture, you're building in a vacuum. You don't need a TikTok strategist to be relevant. You don't need to make sure that you hire a young college student to make sure that you understand what's happening. You need an awareness strategy. Real agile marketers just stay tuned in. They pay attention to shifting platform changes or shifting platforms. Feature sets, consumer language, what your audience is actually saying, not what you predicted in your persona development, what your competitors are doing and missing and saying. So to do that, that means you have to, and so again, adjusting to change is the hard part, right? Because in order to adjust to change, you have to know what's happening. And that means you have to carve out space and time to know what's happening. So, first thing that I would suggest is that you scroll strategically. That does not mean before you go to bed, you doom scroll on Instagram, Facebook, or TikTok forever to make sure you get your blue light addiction covered. No, what I'm saying is paying attention to what consumers are paying attention to. That video that received 10,000 likes, why? How do businesses respond to comments that they receive? How do businesses in your industry respond to comments that they receive? What kind of content do they post? What do the influencers in your market post? What was the trigger that drove customer interest in that particular video or post? That strategy. Why did they redesign the website that way? What was the decision to add that particular section to that email? That's strategy, right? So when you're looking at content on social, television, anywhere that the consumer is that would want your product or service, why? Next, experiment on new platforms. If you haven't, download Perplexity. Use ChatGPT. Try voice search. Do a search in Google and pay attention to the AI overview. Turn on AI mode and work with Google Gemini. Try to create a video using Google's new VO3 video platform. Try something new. Try weird things in stories. Post a Yeti vlogging video. If you haven't seen it, it's a thing. I promise you, it's weird. And I know, but it's a trend right now. And if it makes sense for you to post a Yeti in a suit and tie, talking about your product, do it. It's trendy right now. Test a new tone, a new voice. If it doesn't work, It's okay. Don't do it again. Respond to the moment, not just the roadmap, not just the plan. So if your content calendar was built 6 weeks ago and you've made no changes to it or added to it, removed from it, it's stale. Be creative. Now, let me be clear. Following trends does not mean that you chase every meme like a panicked intern. It means that you're having your ear to the ground so that you know when something is culturally or contextually important. You're paying attention. Agile marketing also does not say, let's jump on every trend. It does not say, just because that influencer is posting about us that we should call them and try to integrate our brand with them, although they have nothing to do with us. It says, let's recognize when things align with who we are, our brand voice, our culture, and respond. So for instance, that moment when your brand could take a stand on an issue and did not. You lost relevance. That update. I want you to, if you're a social media marketer or you're familiar with social, Instagram changed the way that the image sizes in your profile like 3 times in 2 weeks. So think about this, the update that Instagram made, don't let that kill you, right? Or if they made a change to their algorithm and it tanked your reach, and your team kept doing the same thing, you lost traction. So for us, Instagram updated the image size on the profile. We updated immediately. Then we updated immediately again when they changed it back. And then we updated again. Right? Because we're paying attention. That customer behavior shift that was obvious in your support emails or website behavior, but never made it into your campaign, there's a gap. The goal for an agile marketing team is to shrink the gap. They spot the shift and pivot. All right, so let's talk about agencies for a second. If you work with an agency, you either as an employee or with a marketing partner, if you're a company or organization, you need to know that the agency needs to be plugged in just like your internal team and maybe even more so. You don't want a vendor and a marketing partner who executes an outdated plan. You don't want them to come in, build a plan, and never look at it again. They need to know what's changing in the market, what's changing on your behalf, and either know or be learning how to adjust. But I have to say that no agency is perfect. Forum isn't perfect. But your agency should be in the know and working to figure it out. I've had to tell clients before that Rome wasn't built in a day. If you're a company and you've jumped agencies or had a difficult time jumping agencies or maybe had to make some hard choices as a business, you have to remember that your new agency is not going to be able to turn things around on a dime, and that marketing is about change and constantly learning how to deal with change. You want a marketing partner who can bring you insights, new insights, inform you of what's happening in the marketplace. Not be afraid to tell you when your creative or your business model or your prices or anything are out of step. They need to be able to push your thinking and encourage you to do new things, or even go back to strategies with a fresh approach that you've tried before. And they can proactively spot platform changes before they affect you. And what I will say with that, especially about the platform changes, things have changed a lot in just the past year. And so if you think that hasn't affected your digital strategy, your analytics, any of the data that you collect, you're wrong. It has. And that's between privacy, between AI adoption. I mean, there's just tons of things happening, and it's affecting you. And I think that's one thing that you have to be very careful with when you partner with an agency, is to know that they're going through the same change you are. And sure, they can spot these platform changes, but here's the thing, they're going to have to adjust just like you have to adjust. So, and I also have to say your internal team needs to be doing the same thing. You have to make sure that you're building relationships with your agency partner or your internal marketing team that's going to help you move forward. If you're still measuring performance by how closely everyone stuck to the original scope of the plan, you're doing project management, not marketing. If you're looking solely at website traffic as the metric as to whether or not your business is doing well, you're looking at vanity metrics that are going to make you feel real good or real bad, but that's not marketing. And that's not marketing analytics. You have to be really, really wise and patient. Because again, the idea is that with Agile, you are trying to adapt to change to create value. We're not adapting to change to adapt to change. We're adapting to change to create value. And so your next move, whatever it may be, needs to create value. All right. So let's talk about how to actually build in responsiveness. Agile isn't about chaos. I know sometimes when people see Agile or Agile marketing, like, oh, wow, okay, it's about to get weird. Because they're just going to create a ton of chaos. We're going to change everything every 2 weeks. It's going to be a mess. No, that is not the way that should work. It is about feedback and adaptability. So here's how you do it. Shorten your planning cycles. Does that mean you don't build an annual plan? No. Does that mean that you only build 2-week marketing plans? No. Businesses that can build 2-week marketing plans have a whole lot of people and a whole lot of budget. Because here's the thing, the more you shrink that planning cycle, the faster you have to move, the more bodies it takes to move fast. Now, I will say that you can do it smart. And so that's what I would advocate for. There is a balance in planning. And so I believe in annual planning because you need a rough draft of where you're going. But that does not mean that all of that ink is dry. So that really means that your quarterly campaigns, your 6-month campaigns, your annual plan is a plan and it's a sketch that gives you a direction. It is not the final end-all be-all. It should allow you flexibility to move in 2 to 4 week sprints. You make smaller bets, you get faster feedback, and then you make your next move. Now, that doesn't work in every industry, and that does not work for every company, I'm well aware. But the ability to adjust to change has to be part of the plan. All right, next, run audits frequently. Take a look at your posts and see how they're being optimized. So if you're posting on Instagram, are they optimized for what's happening now, or are they optimized for what was happening a year ago? Pay attention. Track your audience language. Are you reviewing comments? Are you looking at direct messages being sent on platforms? Are you reading emails? Is the way you're talking to your audience still how they talk to each other? Then you have to build in trend watching. I've already talked about that, but you need to make sure that someone's paying attention to what's happening on platforms, in culture, in search, and make sure that you have somebody assigned to that. It can rotate ownership if it needs to. And then create change check-ins. Maybe that means that you meet with your agency once a month or once a quarter and say, okay, what's changed since we did this? And that's the purpose of the meeting, just to talk about change. It doesn't have to be some massive report every time. It's about what needs to flex. You don't need to wait until the ship's sunk to adjust the course. You steer as you go. And we work really hard to do that. So I know a lot of times, especially in the past 6 months, we've had times where we've had to just adjust to change, right? So we've just made the move. We've steered as we went because the market was changing in that direction. And that is part of being relevant. And that's also part of trying to find the right partner. And at the heart of this, it really is staying relevant as a form of respect. I mean, what do you care about more? The idea that your agency partner or your marketing team is paying attention, that's a big deal. They should. because it shows that they respect the organization they're working with. It says, I see you, and I understand the world is changing. I understand the world that you're in may be changing. And I'm not doing marketing from a bunker. We're right here in it too. And so when a brand gets lazy, audiences feel it. When agencies get behind and they're not trying to chase and find the next best thing or see what's coming for their clients are aware. But when brands adapt with purpose and clarity, consumers lean in. And your audience doesn't expect you to be perfect. They expect you to get it. I'd say the same is for agencies. Businesses, organizations, your agencies don't need to be perfect. They need to get it. Agile marketing helps you do that. It's not about reacting. It's about staying in the rhythm of listening and learning and acting. Making sure that what happened, you learn from the thing that happened last week. And then the thing last week informs the decision you make the next week. So it's time to put some boots on the ground, some sneakers on this principle, if you will. So here's your challenge. Pick one active thing that you're doing. Instagram, search, email, whatever, doesn't matter. And just ask 3 questions. What's changed in the last 30 days that we haven't responded to? That could be platform updates, language shifts, behavior drops, could be anything. What trend, topic, or conversation are we ignoring that our audience definitely is not ignoring? Where are we sticking to a plan that really no longer serves the customer? And then, this agile part, make just a small change. That'll help bring you back into alignment. You don't need to rebrand. You just need to be responsive. Agile marketing in and of itself isn't about moving fast for the sake of speed. It's just about moving in rhythm with your audience. You're not going to change culture. You're just in conversation with it. And if you stop listening, you stop mattering. So next time, in our next episode, which is going to feel like a bonus episode because it's not going to drop on a Thursday, we're talking about principle number 4. Plan only to a level sufficient to ensure effective prioritization and execution. That means you're not building the perfect plan, you're building a direction. Because here's the thing, your plan, no plan, will ever be perfect. But adjusting in rhythm to what's happening around you, change, is where we can create value. Until then, make sure when the ground shifts, you're moving with it. This is Sneakers and Strategies. I'm Nick, and I hope you enjoy your 4th of July.